Hi, Caitlin. Okay, I see what your problem is. So I figured it would be easier again to make you a video. Hopefully that's all right. I'm assuming we're talking about a form like this one, and I do see the problem in it. So I'm gonna talk about this one, this general playgroup form, Wildcats. Okay, so firstly, in order to get to the form, I went to forms in the back end. And then if I hover over the form that I'm talking about, there's settings. We're talking about two different things here that you mentioned. So there's confirmations and there's notifications. What a confirmation is it happens to the user when the user clicks submit on the page and it happens immediately. So usually it's a little bit of text that says something like, thank you for submitting this form. We'll get in touch with you soon. It is not an email. It's nothing like that. It's just what happens when the user submits the form. Notifications are emails that are sent. So there are two main kinds of notifications that can be sent. One is an admin email, which generally means it goes to somebody in-house, a staff member. So that's what we're talking about here. And the other one is a user email or a user notification. And that goes to the user who submitted the form online, right? Something like you registered for this event. Here's some details. Okay, so let's look what we have here. So I'm going to go under settings and then click on notifications to see what I have set up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what this is called. It's called admin notification because that's the default name. Nobody sees what it's named except for you, so it really doesn't matter, but admin notification is a good thing to call it if it's going to an in-house staff member, which is what we're talking here. So that is fine. So I'm going to click on edit to see what this is what's actually happening here on our one notification. As we just saw, there is only one notification set up here. There can be more than that. There can be as many as you want, but many times there are at least two. So there's an admin notification, and then you could duplicate it and make another user notification. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the first thing about the admin notification, as I said, the name doesn't really matter, is the send to. So that is what is really important here. You have this correctly set up. I'm assuming this is the staff member we're talking about, by making it send to enter an email. So basically you're having it sent to one particular email. The other option, so say for instance, you wanted to send it to a user, is to select a field inside of the form. And it has to be a required email field. Okay. And so in this case, that field is called primary email. So if you wanted it to send to the user, you would click select a field and then choose the primary email field inside of your form. And again, that does have to be required. But we want it to send to the staff member. Okay, from name. This is actually important. To not leave blank because these emails that are sent from forms are hard to receive in your email inbox, in your email client, because they look like spam. So they look like spam because they send from a website server instead of the email server that normal emails that come from children'sclinics.org come from. We can't change that, obviously. They need to send from the server. But what we can do is make sure that everything, and we have already done some other things like, so we're basically telling your email client, be it Outlook or Gmail or whoever, hey, we're not spam, this is real. But spam emails can do that too. Spam emails often tell email clients, hey, we're not spam. So we want to do everything in our power to make this look as legit and be as legit as possible so that it does not go to spam folders, okay? So I put in the from name there, we're good. From email, this is fine. This is your site admin email. It's probably something like info@children'sclinics.org. That's all good. Reply to email, we would like to choose a field for this. So over here, these are called merge tags. They're the fields in the actual form. And what we want is, again, it has to be a required field, and we're going to choose that email field. So what this means is once Lissa gets the email of this notification, if she clicks reply on it, it's actually going to send to the user that submitted the form, right? As opposed to sending to the admin email, be it info@children'sclinics.org or whatever else it is. Okay, subject's fine, doesn't really matter. Here is the problem here. So what this says, even though it doesn't send to the user, it just sends to Lissa. What it says is, thank you for your registration. So it looks very much like an email that would be sent to the user. And perhaps you meant this for that reason. But that's not going to work in this case. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And then instead, I'm going to add all the merged fields. And by the way, let's go back. Even if this were sending to a user and you wanted to set one like this up that sent to the user that submitted the form, you'd still want to include the fields of the form, right? So that they have a record of that. That's a useful thing that people usually want to see. So in order to do that, again, we're going to go to our merge fields, and then we're going to go to all submitted fields is the easiest way. So this little tag here means that all fields from that form are going to get sent in that form. I mean, in that email notification. Okay. So in this case, Well, I'll just leave this text in here, even though it's not going to make sense and send to Lydia, just so you can go over it. But now, if I were to just update this notification now, which I will, what's going to happen is this will send to Lissa as it was before, and it'll still say this text that will be confusing her. But after that, it will have the info from all the fields. So it'll have the user's name, user's email, all that stuff. Okay. And again, if you wanted to make 2 emails, which I'm guessing you probably do, one being the admin email and one being the user email, I'm going to go back to notifications here where I have that one. I'm going to hover over this, click duplicate, and then change the settings to instead send to that user email. Okay, sounds good.